Greetings, welcome to English for Beginners episode 10. How to address people properly in English. Lesson 1, Rules and Formalities of Formal Titles in Spoken English. English learners often feel confused about how to address people properly. Of course, there are so many ways for addressing people in English. But what is the proper way? When do we use formal terms and informal terms? What title should we use? Again, not being sure how to address someone, especially in a new environment, can feel intimidating. What if you offend someone by an accident? How embarrassing is that? Today I'm going to put all those fears to an end. This lesson is about how to address people using the right names and titles in English. So I'm going to focus on how to address people properly in speaking and the basic rules and formalities for using formal titles. I hope and I believe by the end of this lesson you are able to address everyone in English with confidence. So let's get started. First, we are going to cover vocabulary. So I hope you have known these terms associated with names. First name, surname, family name, last name, first name, father name, grandfather name. Let's review them one more time. First name is called forename or given name sometimes. It is a personal name that accompanies a family name or surname to identify somebody. Middle name is the name between first name and surname. And the last one, surname, sometimes referred family name or last name. So it is the name that identifies somebody as belonging to a particular family and that he or she has in common with other members of that family. So this is the name format that native speakers use. But in Africa, most of the time we use this format, the second row. First name, it is a given name at birth by parents or guardians. Father name is the name of a man who is a parent. Grandfather name, the name of the father of a father. So this is used mostly in Africans, by Africans. This kind of vocabulary is words related to titles. So we better know these words before we jump into the main section. Title, personal title, job title, address, terms or forms of address, formal address and informal address. Let's see them one by one, guys. First, title. Titles are the words that go in front of someone's name. For instance, Mr., Mrs., Sir, Madam. So using these titles often can be challenging. So we are going to see them. Personal titles are words that go in front of someone's name. They are used before surnames or full names as a sign of respect or to indicate his or her rank and social status. Job title, it's a name describing a position or a name that describes somebody's job, position, or level in a company or an institution. Let's get to the first. It is about addressing. Addressing means to call or refer to people using names and titles. For instance, could you ask Mrs. Zahara Jamal to call me when she gets back? Dr. Daniel, can I ask you a question? The forms or terms of address is the fifth word you need to know. A word, phrase, name, or title, or even some combination of these used to address someone in writing or while speaking is called forms or terms of address. Professor Sana, there is someone to see you. This is a formal address. Hello John, how are you? This is informal address. Let's see them one by one, these two formats. So formal address means it is an address that's typically used in professional context, for instance, academia, government, business, medicine, religion, and the military. So they are used to recognize a person's authority or indicate the level of professional or educational accomplishment, and again as a sign of respect, especially in Africa. On contrast, informal terms of address are used outside of professional contexts and to express affection or closeness, so show that you are familiar or comfortable with the person. Now we have finished the vocabulary. Let's come to the main lesson. So this is the main session of the lesson. First, let us see them the personal titles one by one. So there are only 2 titles for men, Mr. and Sir. There are 4 titles for women, Mrs., Miss, Ms., and Madam. Let's see them one by one. First, Mr. is pronounced as Mr. Mr. is used when you are addressing a man, regardless of the man is married, single, divorced, in a relationship, or without. We use Mr. This title is completely free from any relationship or marital status. Example, Mr. Zanabahilo is our new teacher. The second title for men is Sir. It's pronounced Sir. It's quite formal and the polite form of address to adult man of any age, often used in speech as a sign of respect. You can also use it when you don't know the man, and often in shops or other service type situations like hotels, blah blah blah. Can I help you, sir? Next, let's go to women's title. The first woman title is Mrs. Mrs. is used for a married, divorced, or without woman. Mrs. Eleanor is my best teacher. Mrs. Title 2. Ms. Ms. is pronounced, it ends with S, but it's pronounced Ms. Ms can be used whether someone is married or unmarried, older or younger, and is a neutral as Mr. It's derived from the word mistress, and the safest term to use when marital status is unknown. Please give this to Ms. Eden. Now let us come to the third title, and that is Miss. Miss is derived from the word mistress and used for an unmarried woman. We use it with female children and teenagers or girls. Please give this to Miss Eden. The fourth and the last title for woman is Madame or Ma'am. So in Britain, in UK they call Madame, but Americans say Ma'am. So this is the equivalent of Sir, and used as a polite form of address to adult women of any age. When you don't know again the woman, and often in shops or other service type situations, we use this title, Madame or Ma'am. Madam, can I help you? Can I help you, ma'am? Now let's come to job titles. The job title describes someone's position or level of job. For instance, medical doctor, driver, nurse, minister, professor, waiter, governor, officer, general. Let's see some of the basic ones. So we start with doctor. Doctor is used for addressing a medical doctor or someone who holds a PhD, that means the highest level of education. Professor is used for a polite and respectful addressing in a university setting, and the president is used for addressing the president of a country or the leader of an organization or institution. The other 3 most important job titles you need to know are His Excellency or Her Excellency. This is used to address the high officials of state or the ambassadors of foreign governments. The Honorable is used to address politicians, officials, ambassadors, judges, and community leaders. Officer is a formal title to address a male or female police officer. So these are the basic formal job titles you need to know. Now let's go to the second section of this lesson. That's rules and formalities. So when and how to use names, how to address a group, how to use language, how to ask and answer some questions. Let's see them one by one. First, we start with when and how to use names. So, do you supposed to use first name, last name, or full name? As a rule of thumb, last names and titles are traditionally the more formal way of addressing someone. This is for native speakers. Mr., Mrs., Miss, Doctor plus last name. Mr. Heidel, Dr. Statke. Again, at formal events like political forums, academic institutions, court, media, and business meetings, we often use a title plus a person's full name. In contrast, when it comes to Africa, mostly we use title with full name or sometimes only the titles for respect, as for instance, Mr., Mrs., Miss, Doctor plus full name. Mr. Zanebahilo, Professor Ayel Fkad. In Ethiopia, we have these titles similar to Sir and Madam. So this is an easy way, and they used only without, even without the name. So when you say Gashi, it means sir. When you say Tiye, it means Madam. So we don't use names, just we use the terms. Now let's come to how you can address groups. So in formal events or situations, you have three ways to address groups. If there are men and a women group, we say ladies and gentlemen. And if there are a group of women, we say ladies. If there are a group of men, you say gentlemen. Remember always that titles showing a person's rank can be used without surname or after, without a surname after them. For instance, I'm sure you have nothing to worry about, Professor. Is that clear, Sergeant? Next, what kind of language do we use in this situation? So when we have formal terms of address, we use formal language. Formal terms of address is used with people you don't know or with people in authority over you. For instance, you likely use formal language with your boss, strangers, people who had prestigious titles, example, the president, the school principal. In contrast, informal terms of address is often used with people you know. For instance, you'd likely be informal with your family, friends, classmates, co-workers, and even acquaintances. The last point I want to include here is how you can ask and answer questions. So if you are unsure of what to call someone, it is best to use formal address because this is polite and will be less offensive. So how do you ask the question? If you are unsure of what to call someone, simply ask one of these questions. What should I call you? Can I call you? You put the first name. Can I call you Zonova? For instance. What should I call the guest? What should I call the teacher? What should I call the manager? So the possible answers might be like this. Please call me Zonova. Please call me Zonova Hailu. You can call me Zonova Hailu. You can call me Z. So this is how you use formal titles in English, and this will take us to the end of our today's session. Thank you for watching. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell for regular updates. Until I see you next Friday, bye for now.